let me bring in Sudhanshu Mittal of the BJP, who's been patiently listening. Ashok Pandit's been patiently listening. Mr. Mittal, Mr. Mittal, there's a problem here with the narrative that's coming out, of Mr. Charan Singh Sapra.
Don't add any fiction into it.
But it's a feature film, Charan Singh Sapra. It's not a documentary. Sudhanshu Mittal, go ahead.
I mean, it is appalling what Mr. Sapra is trying to say. Mr. Sapra is saying Mr. Bhandarkar should seek their permission as to what he should bring out a film on and what not. I don't think there anybody to tell him which part of what he has to depict and not to depict. Secondly, it is a historical fact that emergency is the darkest phase of Indian democracy. A phase for which the Congress party itself had to apologize publicly. They offered a public apology for that. Now, anybody who makes a film, he says, I just heard Mr. Sapra saying, look, it says inspired by true events. Yes, it's inspired by true events. So what's the big deal? He says 70% is fiction. So what's the big deal? He has all his rights. And who are you, Mr. Sapra?
And who's your Congress party? Fiction.
Who's
He's
anybody
saying 70%
to tell him what
fiction. He should say 100% true events.
Sir.
Let him finish. Please let Mr. Mittal finish making his point.
Have decency, Mr. Sapra. I do not intervene. So here is a mindset which is so offensive. It exposes the duplicity of Congress. On one hand, they say we are champions of freedom of expression. We are the saviors of democracy. And look at the kind of intolerance.
Faye, I would like to come in.
If something is offensive to the sensibility of the Hindus, they have a problem. You have no business to talk, Mr. Sapra. Have decency. It's my turn. Now, when there is something which hurts the sensibility of Hindus, you will say it is freedom of expression. Very well. What hurts the sensibility of a political party like us, you will say anything is freedom of expression or an artistic freedom. But the moment it is something to do with you, look at the outrage. You have people who are abusing Mr. Bhandarkar, who are threatening. The hooliganism is leading to cancellation of press conferences and not a word of condemnation. Look at the bizarre argument. He says we have not taken an official stand. You will have violence, you will have threats, you will have hooliganism, you will have abuses, and you will say, no, we have not taken an official stand. You are saying we are a large party which is endorsing hooliganism. And Mr. Sapra, there is a due process of law. The censor board has cleared the
Okay.
If you have a problem.
Okay, all right. Let me just. That's a fair point, Sudhanshu Mittal. Let me bring in the other members of the panel. Kirti Kular joins us as well. She's one of the stars of the film. Kirti, thank you. Okay, Mr. Ashok Pandit. I want to remind you, Mr. Ashok Pandit, that on this show we don't yell over each other because then our audience cannot understand us.
That you have no right to talk about freedom of speech. What is happening in country today?
Well, I'll tell you what's happening in the country today. In between all of this, it is actually freedom of speech that is losing. Gentlemen, please stop yelling at each other. Sudhanshu Mittal, and I'm quoting here Sheetal Matre, president of Mumbai Mahila Congress, who has written a letter to Kailash Nilani. In the last paragraph, she says, being a woman myself, I would like to make it clear that no such crap will be taken to tarnish the image of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. We request you to stop the release of the film and not tolerate such balderdash. If this is not being followed by you, you will have to face a consequential mass protest from us. This is an open threat.
Similar open threats were given in Gujarat to the filmmakers like Amir Khan. And as Sapra said, more than a dozen films were banned in Gujarat. And that was right under the nose of Chief Minister Narendra Modi.
Sudhanshu Mittal, go ahead.
These are people who are threatening with hooliganism without even having seen the film. So much for the expression of the Mahila Congress president. I think the conduct is beneath contempt to really even comment on it. I'm not surprised by the reaction in the Congress. That is their culture. Hooliganism is a part of it. Duplicity is a part of it. I'm not surprised. I am more surprised about the silence by the civil society.
No. See your culture. See the culture of BJP. Should I tell you the culture of BJP? What is happening in the country?
Please.
One second.
Please, let me tolerate each other's view. Can we be tolerant? Can we be tolerant?
Is that your culture?
Can we be tolerant?
Are you saying, Mr. Sabra, that emergency was not
how many
imposed
rape
by
cases
Congress?
are there in
Gentlemen, calm down. Gentlemen, calm down. One by one. Please. Mr. Mittal was speaking. Mr. Ashok Pandit, Mr. Mittal was speaking. Please let him finish.
See the holistic situation in the states ruled by
Charan
BJP.
Singh Sapra, Mr. Mittal was speaking. Let him finish. Mr. Mittal, go ahead.
So I am surprised by the so-called voice of sanity. Why is that silent? Why is the civil society silent? Why are the champions of award Vapsi silent when there is such a major assault on the freedom of expression of a contrarian point of view?
Okay.
You may accuse it of being a rightist point of view, but the fact still remains that
attack on freedom of expression during Modi's rule.
Sir, it is 19(1)(a). The Constitution guarantees. Can I read out article via 19(1)(a)?
Mr. Mittal, we're aware of Article 19. We're aware of Article 19. Mr. Mittal, I have a question for you. Mr. Mittal, I have a question for you. First of all, this channel is not silent in this particular case. This channel is not silent because we quite frankly don't care which party it is that we are questioning. We'll question anyone we believe is infringing on the freedom of speech. Now, here's my question to you, Mr. Mittal. Do you believe that it is right and fair for the censor board to ask for the removal of the words cow, Gujarat and Hindutva India from the Amartya Sen film, The Argumentative Indian? And do you believe that it is right and just for the censor board to ask for the removal of the words RSS, Akali and IB from this particular film called Hindu Sarkar? Do you stand by these cuts?
See, I think these two things should not be correlated when we are discussing it today.
No, we're discussing freedom of speech. We're discussing freedom of speech, and you're not answering my question.
There is a due process. Allow me to finish. Miss, allow me to finish. Let me give you my argument. No, please hear my argument. You see, there is a due process of law. There is a censor board which is empowered to take a decision on this. When they make a recommendation, there is an appellate tribunal. The tribunal also has an appellate body after it. The due process must be followed, and then whatever happens, there is a court. So to prejudge an issue or to comment on an issue where I have not seen the film, I do not know what exactly has led them to say it. So I would believe that if there is something which has been said by the censor board, there is an appellate tribunal that shall take care of it. But who will take care of the hooliganism, the abuses, the threats which are being perpetrated, and the silence? I compliment you. You as a channel have taken up a topic which you have rightly said is an assault on freedom of speech, and I compliment you for that. But what disappoints me is the voice of sanity. You see, why does this nation does not heed to voice of sanity? Because it's selectively expressed.
Mr. Mittal,
you cannot be quiet
on this channel at least there's no such lack of the voice of sanity. But you still haven't answered my question. Do you believe that it is just or fair for cow, Gujarat, Hindutva, India, RSS, are being hypocrites?
Mr. Ketkar has his prejudices which are well known. I don't want to join issues. What are you comparing? You're comparing apple with oranges. Now here is a statutory body, and if a statutory body does something which offends the perception of people, there's a due process of law. But it is now being equated
about freedom of press. We are not talking about jurisprudence.
Mr. Ketkar, have decency. Sir.
No, we are not talking jurisprudence.
You're not answering the question, Mr. Mittal.
We are talking about freedom of the press, the subject.
I have a right. I have a right. I have a right, Mr. Ketkar, and you must be tolerant. The issue is simple. You have a group of hooligans who are taking law in their own hands. These are not statutory organization bodies which have a right to react on this. These are threatening, these are abusing, and you are condoning their misbehaviors by equating it with the conduct of statutory body. I think it is perverse. It is only speaking of your biases, and that is the reason why the voice of sanity does not prevail. Sanity is, look, I have a grievance with the statutory body, I'll deal with it in the legal way. The people who are illegally trying to perpetrate violence and threat and hooliganism, I would condemn them, and I said they have no business, they have no right. And Madhur Bhandarkar has his absolute right. Now bringing in extraneous factors like Gujarat or Narendra Modi and say, because this happened, so this is justified. I think this
Nobody's
is a perverse mind.
justified.
Let us get out of it.
I just want to point out, all right, Sudhanshu Mittal, I want to point out one thing. There was no threat. There has been no threat of violence at all towards the film or its crew. There's just been a threat of protest. 1 second, I want to come back. I want to go back to the team who worked on this film. Anil Pandey.
Press conference.
But nobody justifying.
No, nobody said
Why
violence.
did
Anil
Mr.
Pandey, was there ever
Bhandarkar
a threat
press
of
conference?
violence, or was it just a threat of protest? That's my first question to you. And do you believe, as a writer, Anil Pandey, there is a difference between what these Congress workers are doing and what the CBFC normally does when it doesn't allow films like The Argumentative Indian to be released, when it asks for words like intercourse to be beeped out or RSS to be beeped out? Anil Pandey.
All this. But don't talk about this word nonsense. If you make a nonsense movie, you have to face nonsense.
Who's going to judge nonsense movie? Charan Singh Sapra, who made you king? Who made you the critic who will judge nonsense and not nonsense? On what basis are you calling it a nonsense film? Have you seen the film?
Just wait, have some patience.
That's why our leaders had written that you show the movie.
Sanjay Nirupam has written on an official letterhead of the Mumbai Regional Congress Committee.
Movie to anyone.
And you're telling me that the Congress has no stand.
We will not show our movie to any one of you.
This is, This is just a weak argument, Charan Singh Sapra. I'm very sorry. But I want to give Kirti the last word. Kirti, go ahead. Kirti, go ahead.
No, we know our right. You please be in your right.
Faye, a couple of things.
Go ahead, Kirti.
I'm just waiting for everyone to
Please let the ladies speak, gentlemen.
Okay,
go ahead, Kirti. Yes.
Okay, couple of things. First thing, Faye, that everyone is screaming for freedom of expression. I think it's high time that we operated, everyone included, operated from a different space, the space of being tolerant, rather than just fighting for freedom of speech. I think let's be the first ones to be tolerant, to listen, which you just mentioned, and then talk about freedom of expression. Secondly, it is not just my work. I mean, of course, I'm an artist, and it's eventually our work that shows on the film. But there's a whole team of 150, 200 people. There's money involved. There's energy involved. There's time involved. There's effort involved, and I think all of this will just goes to waste when a film, without even being seen as a complete film, is just being commented on, just being protested, And I must mention that I was there in Pune myself physically and in Nagpur. And you just spoke about, I think you guys...
Right, unfortunately, we've run out of time. But like we keep talking about, we're going to have another conversation about this particular topic. Freedom of speech is the very oxygen that our democracy survives on, not just for filmmakers or documentary filmmakers or journalists. The ability to see the truth, the ability to criticize, and most importantly, the ability to hear the truth from all corners is what our democracy is built on.